Schno. The more you schno. There was some old show that used to end with the more you know. I actually don't know that. I feel like that was a thing somewhere on some kind of show, but I can't remember it. Sort of like Paul Harvey's And Now You Know the Rest of the Story. For those of you that are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, look up Paul Harvey's old broadcasts, and that will just marinate your soul in some nostalgia, I tell you that. Hey, we are just headed up to Joe's. The short of the story today is that two things. One, we're breaking this truck in. It's going to get its first load, and it's going to be a load. It's going to be all of probably 62,000 pounds. And number two, we did not get the ECM issue figured out. The Detroit ECM, the new program they sent us, ran just as poorly as the first program they put in, which leads us to believe that because my old ECM runs good, their test ECM runs good. As it sits right now, it looks like the ECM, the new ECM from Detroit, is a bad physical product, right? Something's wrong inside that. So, need to get this thing rolling, need to get this truck on the road, need to start breaking it in. It can't sit. It's been tying Joe's shop up. We're going to put the old ECM on. It's a smaller horsepower program, which is probably fine for the first 10,000 mile break-in. Not a huge deal. It is an old ECM, so knock on wood, knock. It'll hold up and be okay for, for a few weeks. That's the lowdown. So it is extremely snowy. Billings got about a foot of snow, foot and a half of snow here the last couple days. We got to do a little finagling to get the sweet Pete. Hey, get on your side of the road. One of the hardest things about driving on snow on an unplowed road is that people lose all sense of what their side of the road is. And you really got to watch for it, because what on a dry day is about 2 feet over the center line is just a normal day of driving for some of these folks. I think everybody's guilty of it at some point. But anyway, let's go get this truck dug out. Let's fire it up. We'll get things buttoned up and get on the road. We're actually on a pretty tight schedule today. What's that? Blue 3 would make it in one shot. Yes, it would. Blue 3 would definitely make it in one shot. So you guys, here's our problem out back. It's uphill. Joe plowed, but we had to tow it out last time. Out and back, up that hill. So instead, Joe moved his service truck this time, and we're gonna try to make the cut over and out that door. Can it be done? I don't know, it's pretty tight. But we're gonna give it a try. We're getting her wiggle. Push, Joe, push! Ah! Come on, baby. A little higher, Josel. Come on, buddy. 1, 2, 3, ah! Price is right. Nope, too hard. Come on, Jojo. Come on, bub. Ah, got it. Oh, man. You guys, we made it. I can't believe we made it out. I'll be totally honest, I didn't think we would get the cut. I didn't think there was enough room to make that 90 right out the old door, but we did. Gotta make sure old Josel gets his service truck back in before we go. Sidler up. Man, you guys, Joe is just the man. He's just one of them dudes. I can't stop smiling when I'm around him. I'm just like, yeah, you know? He's just my man, Joe Sewell. Okay, let me get off the hill and wiggled out onto the highway and through town, and I will fill you in on just how this, I'll fill you in on how this deal is supposed to go down. Ooh, she's a little stick. Ooh, new transmission, you see. Brand new, see. Sometimes they are a little tight in the hole, even with the clutch. We're going down this hill, so we'll wait. Okay, let's try this again. This hill's a little more flat. First time? Yes. Yes, it is my first time. There we go. Well, we are 84 miles up the road, bipping right along. Got about another, 10, another 40 miles or so, we'll get to the cow trailer. We have one little problem though. There's a large and snowy hill that we got to try to get up. That hill is right off of the main highway, of course, to get to the ranch. And when you're bobtail, sometimes you get around a little better. Sometimes with no weight back there, even though the weight is usually in the form of a trailer you got to drag behind you. Sometimes it's worse. So we'll see. We'll tackle that. But in a nutshell, let me walk you through what's going on here with our day. Ideally, to break this engine in, you want to try to do some loads that aren't like, we're going to Florida. Like, you want to try to do some things that are sort of within your, region, whatever. Just a few thousand miles worth of local-ish type stuff, so that you get a feel for things. We can make some adjustments if we need to. And I don't call Joe from Louisiana saying, hey man, I'm having an issue here. And he's like, oh, you're out at the mercy of somebody in Louisiana or whatever state, fill in the blank. They didn't work on the truck. They don't know it like I do. So I've scheduled a few local deals here over the last week, and I've ended up not being able to use this truck for them because that ECM issue, right? They didn't have a computer. We're going to try this. We're going to try that. Of course, now looking back, I wish we just threw the old computer on and went on our way until they figured out what they were doing, but just wasn't the circumstances. Anyway, I scheduled a load for tomorrow. Load of cattle about 200 it's about 200 miles. Let's say a 200-mile load. Got to go over there, pick them up, and bring them back to my county. And tomorrow, wind chill factor of -35 to -45 below zero. Awful day to be out doing anything. So I called the cattle buyer and was like, hey man, I'm out. If we're doing it tomorrow, I'm out. Like, I've professionally told myself so many times, do not go out into disaster weather events. Like, you get caught in one inadvertently or luck of the draw, well, then you got to deal with it. But I've had a few experiences over the years where they were pretty serious, and I was like, I'm not going to go out and do that. So I called him up. Of course, he's kind of stuck between the buyer and the seller. Seller is fine to not receive them, but the buyer is having to feed him and put money into them, etc., etc. So he wants them gone, right? So I said, well, I can do it at the end of the week. The weather is going to get real nice and very favorable. And of course, they didn't want to do that because they have to feed them, more money off the bottom line. So we settled on today, which is Sunday. And it's unfortunate. I usually don't date these videos to let you know what day it is today, just because I rarely get videos released the same week. I usually try to film 2 or 3 episodes and then edit them up and kick them out as I'm working on some other projects. Today is Super Bowl Sunday, and of course the boys, the sons, brother-in-law, old rooster, all get together, watch football, have a party with, all the families anyway. So they said, let's do it today, and I'm like, all right. Kind of stuck in a hard spot there because it's how you make your living. So you're like, well, I would love to go to church today, come home, put some food together, sit down, watch the Super Bowl. Instead, I'm out on the ice roads hauling these cattle up in this truck. So don't feel sorry for me. I'm not complaining. It's just unfortunate that the family time versus the trucking stuff is hard to balance sometimes. And the cattle work is really getting slow. It's pretty much virtually done for this season until the grass turns green. So anytime a load pops up that's within this region, of course I want to take it because it's a break-in load for this truck. So we'll get up, we'll hook on the trailer, we'll shoot over. We are going west of Bozeman to a little area called Willow Creek. Gonna load 45 cows there. Should be somewhere in that 60,000 pound ballpark. We'll load them up, bring it on back, give this little engine a workout. So not going to be a raging powerhouse here for a while. One, because it's being broke in, and two, the ECM that's on this is a small horsepower. I think, I haven't looked myself, but they told me they thought it was a 430 horse program. Hey, does that bring you a smile or what? Woo. You ready for this? Ready for a little something? Oh, listen. even got a trailer on. That sounds real nice. That's gonna amplify with the trailer on the back. You guys, we made it in and we're making it out. As much as I would have loved to film me going up this hill, it's just too much action going on. But we shot right up, no prob bob, bing bang boom. From the highway down there, it's from here to the highway is just a decent little grade, and then behind me is the actual hill. But I tell you what, we got her done, son. First time there's been a trailer on the back of this old outfit. So the old Detroit break-in begins now. I can tell you that after 12,000 miles in the cab over the last 4 weeks while young Josephine has been working on this project, combining that with the new engine break-in, with the new transmission in a long nose Pete after being in the shortest of nosed cab overs, I am just a wild card out here turning on the highway. I'm like, whoa, turn the cab over. I feel like, I don't know why, but you know, like a turn and a half of the steering wheel and you've turned your full turn. This thing feels like you got to turn it about 6 times. Whoa. We'll get back in the mode. It is a strange adjustment. Even stuff like the fuel pedal, pressing down on the pedal, I'm like, come on. The cab over would be going by now. How much further do I go? Oh, there it comes, you know. Just, it's just different. Very different, but we're all fueled up. I forgot, I ran the fuel tanks down. I ran the DEF tank down. That was the first time fueling without, you know, needing to worry about any DEF in the entirety of the life of this truck. Just put the diesel in and went. So we're fueled up. Try to get over there before dark and get loaded. Snowpack is the name of the game around old Big Timber, Montana. Oh, it gets so rough. Oh, like a horrible country road. Oh, here we got a guy. Oh my goodness. What's this old boy up to? Fine place to park here, old bud. Got no room on the shoulders. Just past the truck stop and you're back there snoozing. I'm gonna take a snooze, boys. Oh, anyway. Just getting on the old I-90 here, westbound. We gotta run, what is it? It's gotta be 40, 60, 70 miles maybe, over to where we're loading. 23 degrees, sunshine, it's clearing the roads off. Truck-wise, what do we got, y'all? 224 miles into the deal since we left Billings. She's just been running right along. Oil pressure's good, coolant staying good. One question I have, and we're probably not even going to get to see or know, the fan on this right now is just an automatic, comes on its own type of deal, which is almost always just fine. Like, I don't hardly ever have to turn my fan on manually. I like the option to be able to, but have never needed to. These Detroits cool down so fast. When that fan comes on, whoosh, sucks them right down. Comes on at about 208, then you'll be under 200 in like the blink of an eye. So not a huge deal, but everything's continuing to flow. So far, so good. Knock on wood. You know, it's got that new engine smell. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you'll only know if you smell a new engine that's being broke in. It's kind of a strong, chemically, kind of smells like chemicals, I guess. Anyway, got the cruise here, 1600 RPMs in 17th gear. Let's see. 1600 RPMs in 17th gear is 65 miles an hour, which is perfect. That means I'll rarely, if ever, use 18th gear until we rework the back end of this truck someday. Kick her up one more click. right there. So this right now has a 430 horsepower tune. You know, empty, you're like, meh, that's all right. We get loaded, and this is good because it'll give this engine a great break-in. But we get loaded pulling over the old Bozeman Hill here in a few of these deals. You'll feel the 430 for sure. Of course, that'll all change here as we break the engine in. We'll grow the horsepower and things and the performance on it. But for now, 430, we'll break her in, shake her in, and keep her rocking. It is important when you're breaking in a new engine. Look at this. It's not embarrassing. Hold on. Very handy, I know they are, but it serves no purpose in a YouTube video. I won't wear them out of the truck. I still won't. Will not be walking around the truck stop with my headset on. Just won't. Just my deal. When you break an engine in, if you've been around as we broke a couple of these other motors in, you can't go easy on them. Of course, it's your feeling or your thought, like, oh, I should just, let's take it easy, let's go nice. You can't. First 10,000 miles, you can't. You got to go hard. You got to go to the floor, wide open throttle on the hills, rock and roll, hammered down, right? Now, I don't mean like out in the flats we're doing 85 miles an hour. I just mean that you really need to put this engine through the cycles, right? Like, you need to really pull it hard, 10, 12, 15 minutes of constant pulling. Get to the top, let off, coast down the other side, let things cool off, hit the next hill. You need to do that. Now, in a big shop, they would have a dyno, they call it, or is it a dyno? I can never say this word right. Dynometer. Is that the long word of dyno? Anyway, it basically is a big wheel, a metal wheel you can park your truck wheels on, chain your truck down, and run your truck through all these heat cycles while it's chained to the floor. We don't have that, so we're giving it real life resistance out here. Ben commented several times from lots of folks over the years that if you baby your engine while you're breaking it in, it will be a baby in its later years, which is not a good thing, right? You want an engine to grow up and be strong. So, use a firm hand and some discipline while you're while you're breaking this engine in, and then you'll have yourself a good, strong, well put together engine that's been taught properly in the ways of the world. Does that sound familiar to anything you know about maybe being a parent? Teach them in the way, teach them the right things. Anyway, that's what we're trying to do with this engine. In here, just made the turn off the highway. Nice little ranch there, huh? Built some nice fence, some snow catchers there. A mile down this road. In fact, that pickup, if you see it way up there in front of us, that is the guys. So, look out here. See if you can see this. There's some cows out there eating hay. Some deer right there eating with them. See that? Little turkeys. Boy, they eating a good life today. The load's not going to be quite as big as I thought. I was thinking, originally they had said 45, thinking, 1,350 pounds, but we're a couple head less at 43 with 1,250 pounds. I think it put us a shade under 54,000. Oh man, look at that. There's a little Montana beauty, Gallatin country of Montana. Kind of a hard angle to wiggle in here, but we got her. We got it in, got around. Good old time shoot. This old chute's seen a lot of cattle. I love these old barnwood chutes, big old giant power pole supports, on the side. Here they come, 13 of them. Come on, girls. Hey, don't mind me. Hey. Go. There you go. Yo! Hey, hey, hey! Go! Go! Hey, 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 hey! Go! 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 Okay, here we go. Man, there's a lot of snow. That doesn't look like a lot to you, but in an empty cow truck, bumping this quad axle trailer around, that is some snow. 18 degrees. Just one more shot of that beautiful Montana sunset. Let's get up out of here. Okay, we are just getting off the freeway. Got a ways to go yet, but wanted to swing around here. Check the old engine out. I've been keeping on her pretty hard and steady. It has pained me, but I've been good about it. These snow piles. I'm gonna check these cows too. I'm sure they're all riding good on a short run like this. Steam coming out there. A little hazy. It's a GK thing. Cold. So the camera makes it look just atrocious underneath this light. In real life, it does not. I promise it doesn't look like that. Okay, so with the hazing thing, I've read about a little white smoke at idle with GK serial number Detroits, all right? It can be a thing that they do. I just need to research a little bit more about it. I know, well, we've learned since building this that they did make a little different piston head that changes the compression that helps deal with it, apparently. Also can be part of this break-in. That's the other thing. I stopped here a minute ago and there was zero haze at all. So it could be part of a break-in thing. We did keep these injectors because they were brand new. I would like to run some Diesel Extreme, some of that Hot Shot secret product through there as well. I'll keep you posted on it. I don't think it's not a mechanical issue because it's just running beautifully. Coming into town here, hear the old Jake brake running, right? This is what I was talking about this exhaust brake. I'm gonna turn it on. Hear that? It's so weird to have your Jake brake working, but not making the big Jake brake sound. I don't need the combined braking power necessarily for things like this, right? Coming into a town, not a big hill. What I really want it for is these big, long, extended mountain passes that I go down. I get to know the rig a little bit, so I'll shut it off and listen. Jake brake, come on back. I know it's not cool, but it's functional. It does add. Like here now, I'm picking up steam coming down this hill. Before I was actually net slowing down. Since I turned that off to let you hear the Jakes, it is, you saw there, I picked up a couple miles an hour. Now that I'm in the bottom, we're slowing down again. She does sound real nice, doesn't it, with that little muffler? It's just the perfect tone. Love that. Ever closer, ever closer. Got a pretty good little snow blast came through. We are making a unbelievable whiteout behind us. this out. I just got in, unload. I'll show you the snow here on the way out. Crazy. I got in, never got stuck. Hopefully we'll get back out. Roads are getting pretty wide out there. Look at this. The tiniest, just the teeniest little splecker. Okay, here's the snowage. Big piles here. Piles along the windbreak. Piles there, piles everywhere. Anyway, the white smoke you see there, very little. I'm gonna just keep rolling it. I think it's a compression / programming thing. We get the little more horsepower put in this. If I understand all this right, it should advance the timing a touch, hopefully, and then eventually put a tune in it as well. This PDI tune, which may or may not help. We'll see, but definitely a Detroit in the cold thing. Hey, check this out. This is interesting. This is very interesting. It's not, that's not white exhaust smoke. What you see there is just water vapor from the cold. You know, the only thing I got going on different right now, you guys, is we'll test this. I want to see. I have that exhaust brake on. You can hear it out there whistling. Now, let's go in and pay for the fuel. By the time we get out, let's see if it's doing anything. Hey, guess what else? Before we get back to the truck, I just did my miles per gallon. I fueled up right here before I left. We did the round, came back, topped off my tanks. First run out, untuned, hammering on this thing, wide open, WOT, wide open throttle. 5.1 miles per gallon. That's pretty good considering that it's not broke in and I'm driving like a ding dong. But let's flick that switch. I want to hit that exhaust brake again. Okay. See that? Now again, these lights are so they're like ruthless, right? These LED lights. But let's flick that switch. I want to hit that exhaust brake again and see if it creates some back pressure heat. Look at that. It switches over to more of this cold weather vapor. That is wild, you guys. Look how it clears that up. See, even I'm shooting vapor out. Temperature's dropping. Check out the snow bomb. Snow bomb, boom. Woo. Baby. That thing is noisy, isn't it? That X15, when you would start it up in the morning, that VGT turbo would tighten up and create back pressure in the exhaust system. That's another thing the VGTs do. They warm your engine up faster, keep the heat in there, and keep it, if it's getting a little too cool at idle, that VGT will constrict, or however that works, and tighten up the exhaust. So I had the thought, well, let's try that while we're parked here. No cars coming. Let's try that while we're parked here fueling and see if with my exhaust brake on, because those guys, the Bundy boys, said that it will also, at idle, you know, keep your engine warmer. If all it takes to clean this up, because like I said earlier, it runs. I mean, this thing's running smooth. But I think turning on that exhaust brake is making that engine work a little bit. Just a touch, just enough. Doesn't take much, just needs a little bit of something to make it working. It must be heating that exhaust up enough, or heating things up enough to burn clean. I don't know. I'll have to call Josel in the morning and run that by him and see what his thoughts are. Well, what do you say we take a quick look while we're here? It's late at night, These deals, when I get in the middle of the night, I go home and I just lay there and lay there. It takes forever to wind down. So there's a couple of things I can do in the shop to kind of slow down my roll a little bit. A little bit of weepage. I wouldn't say it's a leak. Any of these things, it's not coming down and dripping or leaking. Blow-by tube didn't even have anything coming out. That's good. We had a little oil drip on the front of the pan when we did our test drive, but looky there. I don't see it. Looks all clean. Oh, there's the coolant. See you there. Little coolant leak. Dripping down pretty good already on the old floor. We'll tighten that up. Those hoses, when you put new hoses and new clamps on everything, they take a couple rounds of tightening. But you can tighten them up good at the shop and then you run it, and it don't matter when you get a few miles down the road. I think that's a 3/8. Pretty sure. You get a few miles down the road and, you know, what do? We did almost 600 miles today on it. Little weepy. You guys remember that bolt? It was loose on our test drive. Joe took it out and put a little bigger one in there, a little longer one. They sent the wrong bolt with that kit. So we got that squared away. Power steering looks good. All those front cover seals look like they're good. Sometimes these buggers weep back in this corner. I think my Kenworth does a little bit. That all looks good. Sure thankful for that thing up there in the corner. The good old ECM from 1995. Working hard in there. I think I'm going to save any more tightening for tomorrow. I just wanted to stop the drips for tonight. But tomorrow we'll go through and I'll tighten every single one of these clamps and hoses on every single thing. Maybe get some new socks to put up here. Those are overdue, huh? Here's the... Would you say we got a little bit of snow picked up? I'd say well, so. That's going to wrap it up. I think I've got enough little things done in here. I can wander my way up. And it's about 11. I think old Rooster's still awake. I'm going to try to bum a ride home from him. For being a little 430 horse program, base program for this thing, it actually did really well. Pulling the hills, pulling the Bozeman Pass, up out of Cooney's there, north of Big Timber. A couple big old hills that it did well. I kind of thought we'd end up going into low range. We never did. So important on a break-in to do all those cycles. I pulled some hills at 1,700 RPMs. I pulled over the top of a few of them hills, let it lug down to, 1,350, 1,400, which on a Detroit is lugging pretty good. Tried to just give it a broad spectrum. Really impressed with the smoothness. Transmission, very new, it'll take a little while to get that kind of smoothed out. 10, 15,000 miles down the road, that thing's gonna be shifting pretty nicely. As far as the hazing goes, the little shoo, I did some reading on that, okay? Here's what's interesting. So it's a PK and a GK serial number thing. PKs, there's BKs, MKs, BKs, PKs. Those are the serial number assortment for Series 60 engines, right? The preferred engines is the MK and the BK. The PK and the GK are not quite as preferred, but honestly, it's getting very hard to find to find those serial number Detroits out there. Made a lot of the GKs and PKs that they put in some of these Aerodyne trucks, and that's what this is. So the hazing thing definitely is a GK, PK thing. And there's a lot of different, reading around, there's a lot of different options, a lot of different things, right? Some people had some success putting BK pistons, injectors, camshaft, and Jake brakes, some mixing, matching of parts and things like that. All this not to change the way it runs, but just to get rid of that haze that some of them have and some just don't. So not doing that, obviously. We're put together, this thing's running really tight. I'm not gonna, over some haze, not gonna do that. Would maybe know to look into some of that on a future GK build, right? But this is what was interesting to me is, one, when I pulled it here in the shop, as you saw, it was clean. It's definitely a cold weather thing. In the spring, summer, and fall months, you're not going to have any issues with any of that anyway. But this little exhaust brake down there, that little Bundy exhaust brake, Sentinel exhaust brake, putting some back pressure back into the engine seemed to cause it to, I don't know if it just holding that exhaust in there a little longer is causing it to burn and clean up and clear up. But if that's all it is, the few times you have to idle, because I don't idle much, right? If it's nasty, super below zero, I'm going to idle. That thing would help keep the engine warmer, keep the exhaust clean. What if we just unlocked a very, very affordable way to eliminate hazing on the GK and the PKs at idle? What if all it takes is an exhaust brake, camshaft, new set of injectors, different pistons with a 16 or a 17 to 1 compression ratio versus a 15 to 1, which is what comes with these pistons? What if all it is a $1,500 exhaust brake? Slap it on there, back it up, whoo, clean as a whistle. I'm going to continue on with that. Came across an article from Pittsburgh Power where they're like, we will not rebuild GK, PK engines to that spec. The smoke drives people nuts. Any questions you have, any comments, any tips, tricks, ideas? Of course, I always like to read through the comments and get back to you guys when I can. But initial break-in run, I'm going to call it a success. I'm going to keep you guys tuned in on, I'll follow up a little more on some of these performance products. Still want to kind of follow up probably around our first service interval with the AirDog. I'm very hopeful that we're going to get up there and we're going to make this classic truck get some serious MPGs so we can look nice and save a ton of money.